Hello and welcome back. It's been a little moment, but I'm finally back making a video on my survival world. Thank you to everyone that's come back to the channel after this prolonged period of being away. Yeah, I've been busy and I have not had much time at all to play on this world and make videos. So I started a new job, started in April, and yeah, that's kind of taken all of my time recently, so I just haven't had the time to get on here and play as regularly and make these videos, and I missed it. Although the job's continuing, I'm trying to find a little bit more of a balance. So one of the things that has been part of the job is I've been doing surveys of bats, which is great, but bats only come out in the nighttime, so it's ended up being work is taking over all of my day, all of my free time. But yeah, bat season's coming to an end now, so I can invest quite a bit more time into making these videos. Of course, last episode we built this really cool portal build, which I'm really happy with. I think it fits the vibe really nicely. One of the ideas I think I'm going to have a really cool is to get this wheat field expanding and filling like this whole plain. I think it'd be really cool to get some windmills in here as well and some large oak trees. But yeah, at the start of the episode I made a bit more progress on that. As you can see, I tried to have these tendrils just to make it look a little bit more interesting when it's not completed yet, but that was, you wouldn't believe quite how many seeds it is. It doesn't cover that large an area, but that was a decent few stacks of seeds. Full inventory full of them. But yeah, I think the idea in the future would be to get it coming all around this area, fill it all in with wheat, have some, maybe more than one, maybe 2 or 3 windmills kind of like standing in the middle. I think would look really cool, would look really agricultural. But yeah, so the plan for today, as well, I'm sure the thumbnail's already given it away, but today we're going to be expanding the village this direction along the coast. It's going to be a really nice addition, I think, just having a few more houses. I've got the designs already, so I know what I'm going to put there. Just a stretch of 5 or something houses along this way just to expand the village out, make it seem a bit bigger. So I have already started gathering some of the resources, and there's quite a few. I still need quite a few more to go, but as you can see, yeah, lots of resources. That's going to take a little while to gather all of them. But one of the things I do need is a bit of copper and candles. So that's not necessarily that easy to do without bees. So I could run around the world and collect loads of little bees, collect all the hives, but I want somewhere to put them. So for the moment, I think what I'm going to do is just build a little greenhouse right here. So it's going to kind of be like a little Victorian sort of style, very grand greenhouse. I don't think I'm going to make this one automatic. I think this one's just going to be manual for the moment, given that we don't actually need that much honeycomb or honey. In the future, it would definitely be cool to make a proper automatic one, but I think just for these small little projects we've got around the village, I think just a small manual one with a few other plants in it, I think it's gonna be really nice and gonna help do the vibe. So I've already gathered all the materials for it, so I think, yeah, we'll start this episode off with a little time lapse. Okay, so now I have built up the brand new greenhouse. So as you can probably see, if you've watched Hermitcraft in the past, this design is quite inspired by Green's barge sort of build, taking that kind of Victorian sort of greenhouse design, using a lot of dark oaks and then the white stained glass, which I think is a really nice effect for greenhouses, and it fits in really nicely with the village, I think, as well. I think it sits quite nicely there. We'll have a little bit around it, but then we'll have probably the wheat come right up to close to it, where it spreads out into the field. But at the moment, you might notice it is looking very empty in here, so we need to go get ourselves some bees and some other vegetation and make it like a proper greenhouse. I'm going to take the horse and we're going to go off on a mission to find some beehives and steal some bees. Yoink, 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 yank, yoink. Run away! Okay, that was fairly successful. We've now got quite a few beehives, and a decent few of them have bees in them, so that's good. We'll also grab a few different blocks out of here that can be naturey. Also, I'll need a a few campfires, 7 in total for the amount of beehives we've got, as well as quite a few trapdoors. So now when it comes to decorating this spot, it's not particularly wise. We've not got that much space to play with, but I think we'll just try and scatter the beehives about a bit. Campfires and trapdoors under all of them. Make sure we can harvest the honey nice and safely. Now we want to make some places where the bees can forage for nectar, which they can turn into delicious, delicious honeycomb. I think maybe we'll get some water in here as well, just so we can get a little bit of sugarcane in. We will also get some beams going across the roof, which we can put some plants on, and that should look really nice. Have some leaves dangling down, just like that. And there we go. That's a really nice, cozy green vibe in here now. So hopefully there aren't any gaps in the greenhouse, because otherwise these guys will get out and all of that effort will be worth nothing. But in the meantime, we'll breed them up a little bit, make sure our honey production is at the maximum. But yeah, this will do us a great little job for the time being, where we can come in, shear these for honey, and that will get us all of our early game honey needs sorted before we go on and build a proper honey factory. So a couple small extra changes I'm going to make is I'm going to change the door position, put that there, and then get another one on there just as a little airlock, just to make sure there aren't any accidental escapes. We'll also get a barrel in the ground here and whack some shears in there, so when we need them, get them out, get honeycomb. So now that mini project is done for this episode, so we can move on to the main project, which is going to be making sure this riverbank is lively and filled with houses. So the idea of this riverbank project, which I think I'm going to call it for the terms of this episode at least, I want to have a few houses set up along here, maybe a few towers as well to complement the main town and get some height and change the skyline up a bit. 5, 6 houses along here would look really cool. And then we'll come in and add, maybe similar to what we've got over on that side with the docks, get that along there as well possibly. Maybe we'll even go for more of a stone base and have it a little bit higher, a little bit raised off the ground, which could be quite cool as well. But yeah, now that we've got the greenhouse finished, we can finish gathering all of these resources, which as you can see, it's already quite a few, but there's still going to be loads more to add to this. Right, okay, so now I have gathered up all of the materials that I'm going to need to do this build. As you can see, there's lots of, especially in this chest, lots of little finicky sort of materials. But this is where using like meganeko, which I do have started using for the series, just because it's really nice for time-lapse purposes, I find, and it makes me use a lot more different blocks, which I think is always a bonus. But yeah, these are all the blocks we need, so let's jump into a time-lapse, I reckon, to start building these houses along this coast. Just like that, several hours of building has gone and passed, and we now have a few more houses. But yeah, these houses will really help just build up this village, help it feel like a bit more of a bigger town. Of course, at the moment, they are a little bit suspended above nothing. They're just kind of plonked there. Just done the build, so I will get to the surrounds in a moment. But yeah, I'll have a little walk through all of the houses. This one here, this is the first one I built, and it's definitely my favorite. I really love kind of like this pink, whitey sort of texture. It's really, really nice. And the blue of the copper and then the green as well really matches nicely. But I'm really happy with this one. This is my favorite build of the 6 for sure. Then we've got something a bit more bold with the blue, adding a little bit of orange there as well, using a little bit of a palette that's not too obtrusive, but then you've got some more fun blocks in there, like stony blocks and the basalt. Then we've got a nice tower. I wanted to add some mud bricks into the stonework just to add a little bit of variety. I think that's quite a cool effect. You see we kind of got the gradient from the bottom up, which is very subtle, but I think it helps. Just drawing your eyes upwards. And on the top, played around with a bit of decoration. I think it's really nice. Next one along, I think this one still needs a little bit of leaves and stuff to go on it, especially at the top. It's quite brown at the moment, but the shape's interesting, and of course it's on a diagonal, so that's always makes the build a little bit harder. But yeah, played around with some trapdoors and some fences to create an interesting shape. Not sold on it, but yeah, I think some vegetation, some greenery will go a long way. Then we drop down from the 2-story houses down to a 1-story house, and this is just kind of signifying that skyline dropping down kind of that way towards the end of the village. And yeah, played around with some textures on the roof. I think that's quite nice. Little window in there I'm happy with. And yeah, it's a cute little build. I think on its own it would look really cute as well. And on the end we just have a tower just to add a little bit of a spire. And again, fun little texture of the blue at the top. Apart from that, very simple design. Played around with a lot of signs and trapdoors on this little outbuilding here. Around the back it's a little bit less detailed, but that's fine. We've got a little garden in here, which I think is quite cute. I forgot to add a door onto this building, which is a little bit of a mistake. But yeah, a little balcony up there as well. That's quite cute. But yeah, these buildings just, I think they really do help build up the town. As the future goes, we'll add some more buildings in and around here, but it's starting to get a bit more filled out, this town. I don't think I want to build it too much bigger. Maybe a little bit more expansion over this way. Maybe something there. And of course we need to fill up that island, which I've got the designs for. I'm ready to build that, but it's just quite a few resources. I think maybe what I will do is add a small little structure or something here just to break it up, and then we'll have some steps down onto a little harbour, just like we've got on the other side, I reckon, something like that, just to separate it from the water. And I think that should look quite cool. Either that or we go for maybe a stone. We have like a retaining wall there, and then maybe, yeah, I'm not decided fully. I think maybe that would be a little bit of a nicer idea. Of course, we'll get a structure in here. I think that would look great. And some paths along the back. I think that'd be really cool. And then, yeah, in the future, we can have some more houses come in. Maybe I'll start planning those out. Maybe I'll even put some more houses in today. Who knows? I'm really happy with some of these designs. I think it's quite a nice little start, and it just helps fill out the village. Looks nice and crowded, but I think we really can tie it together if we get in some paths on the front and back. So I reckon we'll do another time lapse and get those put in. So we've got these pathways in now at the front and the back, and they really add a lot. They just make the whole build come together, which is nice. Makes it a bit more into reality, and it makes more fun to walk around and makes it a bit more realistic. As you see, we've got quite a bit of clutter, a bit of leaves, ferns and grass and stuff tucked in, and then around the back, just the path we've been using. It really does just make a difference, just help blend everything together and make everything a bit more continuous. And I'm glad I went for this design. I think it's a little bit different to the design we've got over there, and I think it works. I think it's a nice little difference between the two sides. I'm still weighing up whether I should put something in this space here. I'm kind of leaning towards having nothing there at the moment, maybe some just plants and stuff, but I'm going to leave it up in air at the moment. One of the things that I do want to do with this world that I never normally do is make sure all of these houses have full interiors. I am the worst at doing this. I think for this world, I think it'd be really cool to try and put an interior in every single house. I might get sick of this idea by the end of this episode, but I think it'd be nice to fit some interiors in here, make these into proper houses. I think it'd be quite cute. First step to making this a proper house, I think, is going to be to get a door, actually, to let us get in and out of the house. I think it's quite important. We'll add in our path leading up to the door as well. Something like that will do the trick perfectly. And then add in our spruce door. For the inside, for the floor, I think I'm just going to start with something super simple, just a nice little spruce floor. I think it will complement the pink colours up there really nicely for the second story. First, we'll add a little trim around the edge of the floor. I always quite like using this technique. I think it just makes the floors look a little bit more interesting, but still quite simple. And then we'll just fill in the middle with our spruce planks. Drip those floors, and I think that just makes it a little bit more interesting than just a straight up spruce floor. I reckon we'll do exactly the same for the second story. And then with the roof space, we can get a third floor in here, so I think I'm going to make this even simpler and just use spruce planks. We'll need some stairs to get up and down between the floors, and it's going to be a little bit tricky, I think, in this space. but I think maybe if we do something around here, just have it come up, it's probably the best space to get that staircase in. Get some supports on the stairs, just something like that. It'll look quite fun. Make sure the stairs are held up from below this little gate design. I reckon by the stairs, we'll get some bookshelves in and maybe a big flower pot as well, which we can put an azalea in. We'll get a lantern hidden in there as well, and that makes quite a nice little staircase. The rest of the downstairs area, I think I'm going to split it up into 2 halves. So I think we'll have a kitchen on this side and maybe like a lounge area down there. So for the kitchen, we'll just get some furnaces in there. I think maybe a little table there with the window behind there, which should be good, and we'll get it to wrap around there. Above it, we'll get some barrels in. Something like that will do the trick. A bit of extra greenery always helps, and a bit of extra interest. Add in some extra shelf space there. Maybe just the one, to be fair. We want to experiment with a small divider in between like that. And we'll add in some trapdoors here to separate these 2 rooms out a bit more. Get rid of the torches and get a lantern in to help provide some light. And then for our cozy little lounge area, we'll add a small sofa in under the stairs. Something like that should do the job nicely. Something like that should do the trick really nicely. We'll get a cozy little lamp in there. And I think that pretty much completes this downstairs space. Just a cozy little interior. Nothing too spectacular, but it kind of does the job. You've got 2 different rooms. And then moving on to upstairs, we want to continue the staircase going up. It's going to be a little bit tricky to work out where exactly we're going to put it. I think we'll do the staircase over on this side, opposite the other staircase. I think should look decent. And we'll have it come and wrap up around here. Again, we'll get the banisters in to make sure no one's falling down these stairs, because it would be quite a way to go if you fell down there. And then for the rest of the room, I think it'd be fun idea to split it up into a couple of different rooms. We'll split the walls up just with trapdoors. I think that's quite nice. It's quite thin and doesn't fill up the interior too much, so you feel like you've got a bit of space. And then we'll add on the second room here. I think should be quite nice. So as for the interiors of these bedrooms, I think we'll first get a little dividing wall in between. In fact, I might do it out of bookshelves. I think it'll look quite good. So we'll just get a little dividing wall out of bookshelves. It'd be quite nice to throw a few paintings in here. So just something simple like that should work quite nicely. Maybe a 2 to 1 would be better, to be fair. Yeah, I like that. Get a little bed in, bedside table. We'll put a light on there, and then a plant in the corner. It should be quite nice. As for the other room, we'll do something very simple. This one's a little bit smaller even, so we've not got that much space, but I reckon we'll go plant on the bedside table, maybe a lamp holding from the ceiling. Gonna add in some shelf space as well, and I reckon we'll put another plant up the top there. Nice, that's very cozy. We'll add on some oak doors, and that should complete those 2 rooms. As for the landing out here, I think we'll just add some more books in and some more plant pots, because they always sell the vibe great. This little cupboard, again, we'll do the same. Get a little lantern on there to light up the room, and I can get rid of that torch now. Might add in some extra structural elements there, just help break up the shape a little bit. I think that's quite cool. Might do another one there, actually. I think that could look quite cool and frame out that window really nicely. As for the attic, I think we're just going to treat it mainly as storage space. It's a funny little shape of that window, so maybe I could do something a bit more of it, like turn it into a bedroom, but I think with the window being like it is, I think just storage space is just going to be the best use for it up here. We'll just fill it up quite nicely with lots of clutter. We'll add in a lantern to help light it up. We might even put a small painting up here as well. One like that works perfectly for an attic vibe. And I think just a super simple interior like this should have us sorted as everything we need from a house. It looks quite pretty and quite cozy, which is kind of the vibe I wanted to get from a small house like this. And there's a nice bit of variation as well in it. Like I say, it would be quite good to do this on every single house, but I really don't think I'm going to be able to hold that up. But even if the occasional few houses have interiors, I think it's quite nice and adds a little bit more life into the world. So I have also decided to put an interior on this house. It's quite confined down on this bottom floor, but I think we've got some nice little kitchen, little chair area behind the stairs, which I think is quite fun. The painting adds a nice bit of colour as well. And it gets a bit more advanced. We come upstairs, got a nice balcony area. As you see, utilising the bookshelves, which I really like. We've got the balcony coming out, looking over here, which is quite cool. Also got a little bedroom, just only small. Then coming upstairs, this is quite a tight space, but we made it work. We've got a couple very small bedrooms in here, just like that. And that does the job lovely for what we need. Saying that, I think I am done with interiors for the moment. I think it's, yeah, something fun to put every sort every once in a while, but they do take some time to make and look good. They don't quite have the effect that building everything else does, such as building up these big houses. Probably takes the same time to build one of these houses as it does to fill the interior, so it doesn't always feel like the best time payoff. I think we're almost getting there with this project. There's a few things I'd still like to do. I want to get a couple trees. I think I've decided I'm going to put a tree there and then another tree over on this side as well, and I think that'll tie it off quite nicely, especially on this side. I think it'll look quite good to kind of like tie off the village, and we can make sure it doesn't extend that much further this way. But yeah, I think I've decided a tree here will work quite nicely. It'll add a nice bit of shade, a bit of canopy as you're walking down under here, and fill in this kind of empty space we've got at the moment. I think also adding in some more trees and greenery around here is only going to be a good thing, so yeah, I think we'll crack on with these 2 trees. I don't know, there's just something wonderful about standing under a tree canopy in Minecraft. Just the vibe, and now the leaves as well, falling down. I don't know, it's one of my favourite things to do in Minecraft, just standing underneath one of these trees. But yeah, these are the tree designs. I'm trying to improve my trees, slowly but surely. I'm trying to take a lot of inspiration from B-dubs. Of course, we're quite far off that level still. Still got a long way to go. But as you can see, I've really tried to focus on these kind of branches up here with all of the fences. I tried to make the leaves not too dense. I want there still to be light coming through the tree, which I think you can feel when you're down below. You've got the canopy, you've got something above you, but there's still light coming through it, which is quite nice. Tried to get the curve coming out, going both ways. And of course, using these fences, I mean, I think I could maybe have used a few more fence posts, but it works. And as I say, I think it's a really nice vibe, just walking around under it. And I think it adds a lot into kind of the ground level of walking around the village. I was a little bit worried it was going to block up our White House, which is probably one of my favourite designs in the entire village, but I think it's okay. It does block it up a little bit from this view, but when there's stuff on this island, you're not going to see it particularly much anyway. And we've been able to retain this circular window, which is probably the main focus of this face. Putting up a tree over on this side of the Riverside stretch as well. I think it just ties off all together really nicely. You can see, just kind of ties it off there, and that way we can tie it kind of the end of the village from this point. So I think that works quite nicely. If you're eagle-eyed, you'll notice that they are exactly the same design, the trees, they're just flipped. But no one told you that. But yeah, that's almost us done with the Riverside project. I think one final thing to tie it all together, to really tie it into the Riverside, would be something in the water. So I'm going to build a boat. I need to deepen out this water here so the boat can sit on it properly and not sit in the mud. So we've got to clear that out first, but then I figure let's just add a little boat in, a little tugboat, add something in the water, add something of a different kind of interest. There's definitely a photography word, composition possibly, something in the foreground. That's what we're trying to do in Minecraft. We're trying to build pictures. I mean, you're also trying to build a nice place to walk through. But for thumbnails and stuff, for the YouTube game, we're trying to build photographs. So I think having something else a little bit further forwards, I think would be really nice. Add a nice bit of different colour in. And yeah, I think we're going to go with a little tugboat design. It's maybe a little bit more modern than everything else we've got around here, but I think that's fine. It'll still kind of look a bit old-fashioned. In the future, I think we'll get, I mean, I don't want to spoil future episodes, but we'll get some more boats in this village as well. That'll help really start to tie everything together. You want to know who the greatest builder in Minecraft there ever was? That's right. It's B-dubs. Yeah, this design for this tugboat was very, well, Inspired's one word. Yeah, we use the word inspired. Copied is another. If you don't watch B-Dubs, B-Dubs built a boat in the air. So this is in the river. And it's very pretty boat. So I can't remember how much of a of my own inspiration I took. I built this a while ago in a creative world and had it sitting around. It's really cool. It really fits the kind of tugboat vibe that we're kind of going for. And yeah, it just sits along our little harbour, adds a bit more interest. And it just helps build out kind of our picture that we've got going on. We've got the houses, we've got the nature and the trees. And now we've got our boat, which is kind of like a main focus point that you can kind of look at. And it kind of draws your eyes to that. I think it helps frame it really nicely. Use some interesting colours in here. I'm not sure if the sandstone's a little bit too complementary. Maybe when we get endstone, I think I might try and swap it out with that. It's not quite the right colour. Maybe I could try bamboo fences, to be fair. I could give that a go as well. But yeah, it's just a very kind of ramshackle tugboat, which is the vibe I wanted here. We will get some more bigger sailing boats along the river, and that'll look really cool as well. But for the moment, I think that's a really nice little addition. I think having a variety of boats in the harbour as well will look really cool. Yeah, we got a nice little interior in here. You could maybe do something. When I built this design originally, I say built, when I used this design originally, it's not great for getting on enough, but when I used this design originally, I did use it as a shop, and I sold Prismarine in it, which was quite fun. So you've got some space inside to do some stuff with. But I do think that boat helps cap off a really successful episode. We've done quite a bit here, built quite a bit, added to the vibe, made the town feel a lot bigger with these additions. Almost felt like it's doubled in size. Oh, bamboo. Almost feels like it's doubled in size now. It really is growing big. Got a few more, I reckon, episodes I want to fill in the area here. I think would look great. And a few buildings around there, but again, like I did with this building here, I might tie that into these ones around here. I might just tie it into different episodes. So if I have an episode where I'm doing another project, I'll just try and build one house just to try and fill it out and get this small little village done. Before we end off this episode, we come and do comments of the day. So today's comment is by Face23, and he said, "How do you learn to build so good? Is there a technique? Also, keep up the great work." And to be honest, thank you for the compliment. I don't really know. I think the main way I've learned to build good is just watching other people build, taking ideas, looking at inspiration, taking an idea here, taking a build there, as we did with the tugboat, adding a few little different tweaks, a few different colours on maybe. But I think the best way to learn to build, for me personally, is by copying other people and changing it up a little bit. Taking small ideas, if you can, for window designs, stuff like that, and incorporating them into your own build, I think is the best way to learn and add new different tricks and tips to your building repertoire. But yeah, thank you very much, Face22, for the compliment and the comment. Thank you for watching the episodes. Thank you to everyone for getting this far into the episode. If you want to feature in comments of the day, feel free to leave a comment down below. It really helps me out, just boosting the engagement. And again, thank you all very much for watching. If you did enjoy, and if you want to see more of my building and my world, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll catch you next time for some more big projects.